Got a 2024 F250. Customer is stating that they are hearing a sloshing noise from the right front or the right side, and the right front floor is wet. I am going to do a quick run through on the common spots that will leak on something new like this. This thing is literally almost brand new. So generally speaking, if you've got something that's almost brand new like this or is brand new, nothing's failed yet. Something simply just wasn't done right at the factory, just about 99.9% of the time in my experience. So I'm going to run through a quick, just kind of a diagnostic routine on how to find it. This would work on anything, whether it's new or not, because some of these things are subject to leak on down the road too. But anyway, let's go. First thing we're going to do is verify the concern. So I've pulled up the scuff plate and the kick panel. Well, I think that's verified because there's water. So that's your sloshing noise. This channel right under the kick panel, that's where the wiring harnesses run. It is one continuous channel from rear to front. So if it gets water in it standing like that, yeah, you're going to hear a sloshing noise when you hit the brakes or the gas or whatever. And this carpet is just, look at that, it's just sloppy wet. And we just had a ton of rain, so this car is sloppy wet. Now, we live in the South, and there's a good possibility sometimes that a floor can also be this wet from an air conditioning leak. This car does not have, or truck does not have an air conditioning leak, but if it was going to have one, it would be right there. You see that rounded piece right there? That is the seal in between the evaporator exit drain and the firewall. And the way you would check to see if it was an AC leak is you'd reach your hand behind that flappy thing and just push on it. And if it came back wet, which it did not, then you'd know it was an AC leak. And you'd put a 90-degree elbow on there, and I have a video on how to do that. And that's on a 150, 250, any F-Series Expedition. They all pretty much are subject to have that happen. So that is one thing, but I know it's not that because this happened after a big rain, and AC leaks don't leak except for when the car's running. So we eliminated that to start with. So where do you start? Well, the first thing I'm going to ask is, does it have a sunroof? It does not. If it did on a brand new truck, then I'm looking for, up here, I want to see that the drain tube is connected. I'm going to pour some water in there and see if it ends up on the ground. If it does not end up on the ground and the drain tube is connected, then I'm looking for this drain tube that runs down the A-pillar here to be kinked somewhere or maybe pinned behind the dash. Okay, that's one thing. The next thing, generally you're going to start from the top and work down. The next thing is, I've pulled the A-pillar off here. I'm going to look right down in here with a flashlight, up and down here. I'm touching the bead of urethane right here. I'm going to look right down in there with a flashlight, and you can kind of see that corner down there. If that was leaking, that would be nasty, because this is springtime and it's pollen time. And wherever water leaks in, it leaves yellow dust behind. Or if it's a construction vehicle, there'll be dirt. So anyway, this urethane bead is pristine, clean. It's not the leak. The other thing you can do is look in the A-pillar itself. Here's the A-pillar itself. These little ridges, starting up at the top and even starting with this, but these little ridges right here, if this was leaking from the roof, like the sunroof or the roof seam or the top of the windshield, generally speaking, it'll build up over these and spill over and build up and spill over and eventually make its way down. Well, this water that gets trapped right here dries and will leave a ring behind, unless it just leaked for the first time yesterday. If it's been leaking for any kind of amount of time, it's going to have a water ring right there. This does not have a water ring, so that's another quick, just a little observation you can make. All right. So I've established that I don't have a leak from above. No sunroof, windshield's not leaking. Let's move down a little bit. All right, I also know my AC's not leaking. All right, the next thing I'm gonna look at is this cavity or void area behind the fuse box. This is the fuse junction box right here. Pretty much all the F-Series and Expeditions have either a module or the fuse box or something right here behind the kick panel. You can kind of see, there it is. See that little cavity area? You're gonna wanna, sometimes there's a little foam seal in it. You're gonna wanna look in there visibly visually, I mean, you're going to want to look at the bottom of it and see if the water has gotten in there. It's got a sort of a floor in there that's foam and plastic. If there's been any kind of water in there, it'll be dirty. Otherwise, it should be nice and clean. So if it's dirty, generally speaking, that means there's water getting in there, and it usually will build up and spill over, and you'll generally see a streak coming out of here. Now, you also can see, if that is leaking, you can see possibly it coming out of here, because this just goes to this little cavity area, this void area in here. So it could come out of there, so you might want to look at that. But as you can see, that's nice and clean, and it's not dirty in there at all. So I know that's not it. The other thing you can look at that can really flood one is water coming out from under the door panel. I've got a video on how to test for the inner splash shield, but I know this is not the case. I'm almost positive this is not the case, because when that spills over, even if the scuff plate's here, this will be all dirty where it gets under here. All right, this is nice and clean, and I didn't clean it, so, but yet I have water. So I'm reasonably sure that's not the case. Let's move to the back, because I'm about exhausted all my options in the front. So here's the back, and this does have a sliding glass. All right, these sliders are notorious for leaking for various reasons, but usually not on a brand new truck, which is what this is. So I am going to mostly ignore the slider, the fact that it has a slider, but I am going to look in here, and you're going to want to look under here in this little gap right there. And if you can see where water's been, like in there, you would see like maybe a ring where water was there and it dried up. Not there. You're going to want to test this if you have a slider on a truck that's not brand new, and see that this is firmly attached. If it's coming loose, it definitely could be your leak. That's not the case, because this truck is brand new. But just visibly, without even water testing it, I'm looking at the leak, and there it is. See it? Cabin vent. You see that pollen? Now, I told you it's pollen season, and that is your leak. Now you can see how that side is nice and clean, this clip that holds it on, and that one has literally, well, there you go. You see the yellow right above it? Okay, so there should be no dirt up here at all, because there's a seal just on the outside of there. No dirt should ever be on the top ledge of this, because it's not designed to account for it. Right here, and here, it would be okay if there was dirt and water, because these are the little flaps that let air pass through your car, and water can get there, and it would go there, and then this last part is sort of a catch tray, and it directs it back out of the vehicle. However, if you'll notice, we're really dirty directly under this, and look at this. Look at that. That's not clipped in there. And if you notice, right around here, you can see daylight. You can kind of see daylight there. Well, I can see daylight just sitting right there. If you see it right there, that's daylight. And I'll show it to you. Watch. See it go away? That's daylight. Just sitting there. So that means any water that runs down the back of the cab. Let me see if I can show it to you. I don't think you can see it. Yeah, you might can. Right down in there. You see it. There it is down there. Let me see if I can make it move. See it? See it? Well, any water that runs down the back of the cab is going to flood right in there, and that's exactly what it's been doing. Further proof, look at the bottom of this. See that all dirty? See how that's all dirty? This has been doing it most likely since this truck was brand new. All right, see the crusty stuff down there on this body seam? See that yellow stuff right there just above my finger? That's pollen. All right, you see it right here? This is pollen, and this would be right about here when this padding is put up there. That means water's just been splattering through there, and it's been leaving pollen and dirt. So this is your leak. You can do one of two things to fix it, since it's up here. You can pull it through here, and look, it's holding. It's holding, so it's now sealed, right? It was never clicked in from the factory, so if you'll notice, it comes in from the outside, and when they push it in, it's supposed to go, listen, see if you hear it. Click, you hear it? So that's holding, right? And now this is holding, but it wasn't like that. It was like this. All right, and I pulled it and it clicked. All right, I don't trust that. There's no way I'm gonna charge money for diagnosing and fixing this and just assume that one little bit of pressure that thing has. So what I'm gonna do is, since this is a brand new truck, I'm gonna get a new one of these and replace this. And I have a video on how to replace these. If you don't have a brand new truck and you're out of warranty and you don't want to put one of these on, because they're not the easiest thing in the world to put on, here's what you can do. Get you a wire tie. Cut you a piece about like this. Get you some needle nose pliers. Pull on this. Get you a pick, something like this. While you're pulling on this, lift this way up. Now you see how I got it way up now? It's way up. All right. Now you could just leave it like that, and that's got a lot more pressure on the seal outside, and that would probably be okay. But I'm of the mind that over time with vibrations and bumps, that might slip back down there, right? So what I would do, take your piece of wire tie that goes from about here to here, slip it right under there, push this right down on top of it. The wire tie will now be pinched in between here. It'll be under pressure. This will be under pressure, and there's no way it can pop down and have this back out of there now. No way. I've done a bunch of them like that over the years, and they've all held up. So that's one way you can fix it. But in this case, we're going to replace it. So there is a, I said quick, but I guess it's not so quick, synopsis of how to find a leak on a truck.